Hello everyone, my name is Whitney Akers and I'm a doctoral candidate at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro Department of Counseling and Educational Development. This video is to give you more information about my dissertation study as you've been selected as a potential participant. The title of my study is Individuals in Same-Gender Couples' Experiences of Outness in Adult Romantic Relationships. As a queer individual myself, who has also worked as a professional counselor with lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer individuals, as well as couples, I'm interested in exploring individuals in same-gender couples' experiences of outness in adult romantic relationships. I hope to gain a deeper understanding of couples' experiences of outness in the many arenas of their lives, as well as gain an understanding of how levels of outness impact romantic relationships. I'm hoping to do so through reviewing participant-taken photographs and discussing these photographs. For this study, outness is defined as the disclosure of sexual orientation unique to those who do not identify as heterosexual, or the disclosure of gender identity unique to those who do not identify as cisgender. To be out is to be open and or visible about one's non-heterosexual sexual orientation or one's non-cisgender gender identity. In conducting this study, I'm mindful that LGBTQ people can be out to varying degrees, and a person's degree of outness is likely to shift and change based on their environment, social location, and surrounding influences, whether they be people, social groups, legal structures, or matters of safety. In order to participate in the study, you must meet the following criteria. A. Live close enough to the University of North Carolina at Greensboro to travel in and participate in an in-person focus group lasting no more than 3 hours, or live within North Carolina and be willing to participate in an online focus group lasting no more than 3 hours. B. Self-identify as LGBTQ. C. Be at least 25 years of age. D. Be currently involved in an adult same-gender romantic relationship for at least the past 6 months. And E. Have access to a computer. There is one caveat for couples who are wanting to participate in this study. If both partners in a same-gender romantic relationship want to be a part of this study, one would have to be in the in-person focus group while the other would have to be in the online focus group in order to keep from having partners within the same groups. So if you've met all of the listed criteria, you may begin participation in the study. In this study, I will ask you to take pictures of your experiences of outness within your romantic relationship in public and private arenas, including but not limited to personal, familial, social, work, spiritual, social media, and public, for example, activism, volunteering, etc., contexts. So when taking these pictures, please keep in mind the way these pictures and your experiences of outness relate to your overall feeling of satisfaction within your relationship. So when you begin taking photographs, you will have 2 weeks in which I will ask you to take 10 photographs aimed at depicting your perception of outness within your current relationship as it manifests in varying arenas. You can choose to use your own photo-taking device, such as a camera or a camera phone, or you can use a disposable camera that I can send to you. Please keep in mind the way your experiences of outness connect with your satisfaction within your current relationship as you're taking these photographs. At the end of the 2-week period, participants using their own electronic device, like the camera or the camera phone, will be asked to review taken photographs and then begin thinking of which photographs most accurately reflect your experiences. For those of you who choose to use the disposable camera, please develop the photographs using funds that I will provide, review the taking photographs, and then begin thinking of which photographs most accurately reflect your experiences. In order to make your photographs available for our discussion group, for those of you who have taken electronic photographs, I'm going to have you email those to me. And for those of you who have taken photographs on the disposable camera, I'm going to have you mail those to me so that I can upload them into a Google Drive folder. After all photographs have been received and uploaded, you will enter into stage 1, selecting photographs. Each participant will select up to 3 other photographs that adequately convey your intended ideas. You will then be asked to develop a title and a caption describing how each of the selected photographs depicts your experience of outness and or satisfaction within your relationship. You will then be asked to fill in the showed paradigm for each selected photograph. And the showed paradigm is as S, what is the significance of this photograph? H, how does this photograph depict your sense of satisfaction within your relationship? O, how does this relate to our lives as LGBTQ individuals in same-gender romantic relationships? W, what does this photograph say about your outness in this context? E, How would you describe your experience and emotions in taking or selecting this photograph? And D, what feels important for us, participants, researchers, families, lawmakers, religious leaders, counselors, and the general public to do now? You will submit all selections to me via the Google Drive folder or email in preparation for group discussion. Please be mindful of confidentiality when uploading email or mailing the pictures. Please make sure that you double-check addresses to ensure that your materials come directly to me and don't get into the hands of someone who's unintended. I will include in the write-up of these instructions an example of a picture with a title caption and a fully filled-in showed paradigm so that you have something to guide your work. After selecting photographs, we'll enter into Stage 2, Contextualizing and Storytelling. Participants will be asked to meet either in person or online for a group discussion of photographs and captions. The in-person meeting will be at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro and last no more than 3 hours. The group discussion will be audio recorded and transcribed in an effort to capture the nuances of verbal exchanges. A research assistant will also be present to take field notes to capture any in-the-moment experiences or any reactions to group discussion. This research assistant will be bound to the same confidentiality agreement that I am. The online discussion group will be held through a private online chat room, and the transcript from the group discussion will be kept for data analysis. Prior to the in-person focus group, I'll print all submitted photographs, titles and captions, and showed paradigm answers to post throughout the meeting room so that the group can walk around and review these before processing begins. For the online meeting, I will have all of the submitted photographs, titles, captions, and showed paradigm answers posted electronically for group review before processing begins. Participants will spend the first 15 minutes of the focus group time looking at the images and reading the information provided by each participant. To facilitate a dialogue about and analysis of the photographs, I will act as the group discussion facilitator, asking discussion questions in a semi-structured interview. I will pose the questions: what did you notice about the pictures? Which picture stood out to you? What ideas or thoughts felt new to you in regard to outness in your relationship? What ideas or thoughts felt new to you in regard to relationship satisfaction and outness in your relationship? What ideas or thoughts felt familiar in regard to outness in your relationship? What ideas or thoughts felt familiar in regard to how outness influences relationship satisfaction within your relationship? And what emotions did you feel when viewing the pictures? We will then enter into Stage 3, Identifying Themes. After reviewing all the photographs, participants will additionally be asked to consider any themes that they feel have emerged in discussion. Some of the questions will be as follows. What themes did you see in the pictures, titles, captions, and showed paradigms? For the purpose of our discussion, a theme will be defined as having approximately 4 compelling photographs, titles, captions, stories, or a combination of these that emerged during your walking around. So what were repeated images, ideas, or experiences specifically related to outness in same-gender romantic relationships? What were repeated images, ideas, or experiences specifically related to how outness influences relationship satisfaction in adult same-gender romantic relationships? And what were other general repeated images, ideas, or experiences? These questions will help us to really gain an idea of the main components of discussion and what that reveals about everyone's personal experiences and the collective experience. We'll then enter Stage 4, Planning for Action. So before discussion ends, the group will revisit number 6 of the showed paradigm. What feels important for us, participants, researchers, families, lawmakers, religious leaders, counselors, and the general public to do now? Inviting participants to engage in critical thought and dialogue about your power to affect change and desired responses from your communities at large. I will facilitate a collective discussion among the group members exploring if or how you would like to see the results of this study used within your community. Participation in group action is not a required component of the study. You will have the option to participate in social action initiatives as collectively determined by the group, but you will not be forced to do so. Also, you will be able to state if you authorize your photographs to be used in your absence. If you do not explicitly authorize the use of your photographs will not be used in any way. In order to begin preparation for the group's action plan, if one emerges, I will gain consent from all participants indicating if the researcher has permission to reprint all participant photographs, selected participant photographs, or no participant photographs for use in the project and/or dissertation. We will then enter into Stage 5, Analysis. After the research team analyzes the transcript of the group discussion paired with the photographs, I will electronically send themes to all participants and solicit your feedback. Your feedback in this phase is important in helping to ensure that I've accurately captured your experiences of outness and the group discussion. However, your level of involvement here is completely optional. I will also check with you to ensure that the themes garnered from data analysis do not compromise your confidentiality. If any participant indicates that a theme does compromise their confidentiality, I will attempt to edit the theme to maintain confidentiality, or if this is not possible, I will remove the theme altogether. And finally, we'll enter into stage 6. What can we do about it? I will assess these next steps based on participant-directed goals and the action plan garnered from participant group discussion. You can be involved in whatever way or capacity you see fit, but this will be to be determined. Before you begin taking photographs, I want to talk a bit about ethical considerations for this project. One consideration is identity exposure. If you're participating in the in-person focus group, you will be known to group members as you're being asked to appear in person to discuss your experiences. You may use selected pseudonyms or your names. It's completely up to you. I will just ask that you indicate your preferred pseudonym or name on the pseudonym selection form. This form will also be available to online participants, though confidentiality is more easily maintained in that format. There could also be potential for harm in participating in this study. Your safety and well-being are vital, so please take extra care to maintain your own safety. There are risks to including yourself or other human subjects in photographs. For example, depending on the safety of your surroundings, physical harm and loss of privacy may result from participation in this Photovoice project. You also could risk exposing your identity through the pictures you choose to take. Remember, no picture is worth taking if it begets the photographer harm or ill will. An additional consideration is the rights of non-participants. I would be remiss if I didn't facilitate critical thought about respecting others' privacy and rights. Every person has the right to avoid identity exposure by a picture that is taken without consent being given. This could happen if you take a picture of someone who's not publicly out, potentially exposing their identity or outing them. So participants are asked to obtain any written consent from anybody that they photograph. This form will be accessible to you in the Google Drive folder, and it will be labeled Training Follow-Up Materials. Additionally, if you choose to include a photograph of a minor to which you have custody or guardianship, please be sure to sign the consent form specifically for minor inclusion in photographs. Additionally, photographed individuals have the right to receive a copy of the picture in which they're depicted. You can give this picture as an expression of appreciation, respect, or camaraderie. I also want to draw our attention to the power that you hold as the camera holder. You do have a lot of power and authority when you hold this camera within a community. You're having the power of depicting your experience and potentially the experience of others. There are some questions to keep in mind moving forward as you're taking pictures. Some questions might include, what is an acceptable way to approach someone to take their picture? Should someone take pictures of other people without their knowledge? What kind of responsibility does carrying a camera confer? What would you not want to be photographed doing? And to whom might you wish to give photographs, and what might be the implications? Some of these questions have very clear answers. For example, we cannot take any photograph of someone who is not aware or has not consented to their photograph being taken. So that's something that is a very hard line there. And you can also experiment in terms of ways to approach someone to ask about taking their picture, but make sure that you always ask first. So before we wrap up, I want to talk a little bit about camera techniques. The first topic with camera techniques is positioning of your photographs. When considering your subject, explore positioning the subject in the center, off to the side, close up, and far away in photographs. Feel free to depict people, objects, patterns, nature, whatever you feel drawn to in your photographs. You have the freedom in deciding how you want to depict your experiences. If people other than yourself are depicted in photographs, again, they must sign a waiver. You may find this waiver entitled Photovoice Project Release Form for individuals depicted in photographs in the Google Drive folder entitled Training Follow-Up Materials. Also considering framing, position yourself to capture what is only needed in the frame of the picture. Photographs often have extra things in the frame that can maybe distract from the focus of the photograph. Remain aware of the background in your photo and be intentional in maybe altering the background if need be. You're also going to want to watch for clutter or for unintentional inclusion of objects in the photograph. This also includes unintentional inclusion of people who have not signed consent to be photographed. You can also explore if there are objects or elements in the background of the photograph that are important in communicating your desired message or idea. So some of these inclusions might be intentional. When considering lighting, when trying to avoid harsh shadows, make sure that you shoot photographs of people in covered shade so that the light is more even across your subjects. Try to place the sun at your back when you're shooting your photographs. This will help you to avoid backlit subjects with shadowy faces. Additionally, allow yourself flexibility to creatively play with light, experimenting with lighting and how light will affect your pictures. Remember that the flash will not reach very far in dark conditions, like in nighttime, so therefore try to limit dark or night photographs to objects that are within arm's length. During the daytime, if you're outdoors, keep the sun behind the photographer to illuminate the subject. You may need to use the flash even if you're outdoors on a sunny day, but you can play with this. Also make sure that you keep your finger away from the lens and the flash to make sure you capture the intended picture. When you're taking a photograph, hold the camera steady and release the shutter button carefully. Stir to yourself so that you may avoid shaking or moving the camera, which can lead to blurry or less sharp pictures. And finally, be sure that you allow yourself space for creativity. Be creative and experiment with your photographs. You have the freedom to use your imagination when depicting your experiences of outness and how that relates to your satisfaction in your romantic relationship. With consideration to access to cameras, as I've stated before, you're going to have the option of using your own device like your phone or a camera or a disposable camera. If you want to use the disposable camera, please email me to request one and I will send one to your address. And please follow the instructions on the device for picture taking. From this point forward, please address any questions to me at the email address wpaphotovoice@gmail.com. Also, electronically sign the informed consent available as a Google document in the Google Drive electronic folder entitled Training Follow-Up Materials. Review training guidelines and procedures, and for detailed explanations, please see the document entitled Steps for Completing Your Photovoice Project. This is also in the electronic folder entitled Training Follow-Up Materials on Google Drive. This form will really detail everything that I've talked about in this video and break it down step by step in a visible format. Now you're ready to begin taking photographs, so please engage in this creative journey in whatever way feels right for you. Thank you again for considering participating. Whether or not you're interested in being a part of this study, I invite you to consider passing the information about the study and my contact information along to others who might be interested in participating. I really appreciate your time, your energy, and your vision, and I look forward to meeting with you. Thank you.